Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. Today on the program, another student raped, killed in Oyo, hawker defiled in Ekiti as Amnesty International asks President Buhari to declare emergency on rape. Oshiomhole writes INEC on choice of direct primary mode for Edo Governorship Election as Governor Obaseki wants APC National Chairman to stay away from poll. Federal government approves 148 billion naira refund to 5 states for federal roads, cancels future refund. And later on the show, Governor Zulum suspends entire staff of General Hospital for abandoning patients. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Asuquo James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. To have you join us, it appears the female folks is becoming more endangered in our country. They seem to be no longer safe from rapists on the prowl. 1 week after a student of the University of Benin, Waila Omozua, was raped and killed inside a church in Benin City, another suffered the same fate. Barakat Bello, an 18-year-old student of Federal College of Animal and Production Technology, Ibadan, Oyo State, was killed after refusing to be raped. Also during the week, a 70-year-old hawker was gang raped by 3 armed men in Ekiti, Ekiti State. This sad trend has prompted Amnesty International to urge President Buhari to declare rape a national emergency. I won't call it the new normal, but Jide, what is happening?
Well, there had really not been any form of let-up in the rape of women in Nigeria. It would seem that during this lockdown, we had an escalation in rape cases. We had a spike in rape cases, but it has always been with us. It has always assumed epidemic proportions in our country. And we've never really been able to come up with laws, both at federal and state level, that would keep rapists at bay. Most of the time, they get a slap in the wrist. Most of the time, out of pressure, relatives of victims who opt not to pursue legal action. So many people commit rape in our country and they get away with it. The way to solve a problem is to make it extremely difficult for people to contemplate committing that crime. The way to battle a crime is to make it difficult for people to even contemplate committing it. And I've given the example of Uganda, that at a point when some wayward men in Uganda were going after minors, raping virgins and all that, the president said, look, I want the death penalty. Because what they were doing at that time was to say, look, if you succeed in raping a virgin, you deflower a virgin, then you'll be cured of your HIV affliction. So it became such a big problem in Uganda. And the president said, well, I have no choice. Let's put rapists to the sword. I believe we are approaching that level in Nigeria. When I even read people saying, oh, it's because of the indecent manner some people dress. How about those who defile kids, 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds? How can a 5-year-old girl dress that will cause some crisis around your crotch? How? I mean, a lot of these people are just mad that you can get a kick by merely looking at a 5-year-old. So we have to really get serious, both at state and federal level. Laws need to be designed to keep these people at bay, to put an end to the epidemic of rape in our country.
As well, but India had this kind of challenge at a point in time. It became so rampant. Now, with the existing laws that we have on ground, I can't even refer to any case as a locus classicus, as of a rape case that I know that is well celebrated, and the punishment, the person got, a capital punishment or whatever, the maximum punishment, the weight of the law. So what we're asking now is that, what should government do? How do we address this?
I know today, Honorable Rotimi Agusoye spent about 3 hours talking about this same matter, and now that the National Assembly is talking, I want to believe they are going to make laws, not just law, but stringent laws that will make people, whenever they see, want to even carry out that act, they will be afraid. I know there's a particular country, either in the Asian country, that once you are caught for rape, they will flog you publicly, And
From the Arab world,
yes,
that's what they do.
They will flog you publicly. And that is like saying name and shame. So, just like you said, there's nobody we've not seen any laws bringing out somebody and saying this person is a rapist, and then they celebrate it, just like we are doing for corruption, for corrupt cases. So our laws have to be very stringent in such a way that when once that attitude or that act wants to even cross your mind, you will know that there's a serious punishment for it. People are saying there should be death penalty. But we know what death penalty, the issue about death penalty is in the country. No state governor will want to write to sign for death penalty.
It will just be on paper.
So it will just be on paper. So the person will just be in prison. He will languish for years and years and years. By the time he's in prison, when they are doing amnesty, when the governors are trying to do amnesty, they will now remember, and then they will release the person. So we need a law or laws that will be very, very stiff, whereby when we know that when the police actually certify, because even another thing is even the victims themselves, just like BK has said, sometimes people who are raped, they find it difficult to even go to the police station. Because one, stigmatization, even their families. Some people, their families will say, don't say it, don't mention it. Because
that's the most difficult part.
It's very difficult. And so that picture remains with that victim for a very long time. If you notice, honestly, if you notice, the social media has been awashed. So many people are now coming out to say, 30 years ago I was raped. 40 years ago I was, 20 years ago.
This individual,
I just read one. So the thing is, if the government now sees it as an epidemic and an emergency, our women will be protected. Because now they have started going to houses to go and rape women. You can't even send your daughter to go and buy anything now because you don't know what will befall her. So, and then we don't even have police officers that will say, okay, go there when once anything happens, even if the person screams, they should be able to, help the person. Look at that Barakat. She was in her house and they raped her. Look at Vera. She went to read and they raped her and smashed her head in church. So the thing is going out of hand. So we need stringent laws that will be able to deter people from even thinking of going to other acts.
But now, even as much as we are very religious, both Islam and Christianity and everything, but you still find out that most of these rapists, most of these pedophiles, you find out that for ritual purposes, for strange diabolical reasons, they perpetrate this crime.
Well, a lot of people who have been arrested are Islamic clerics, Christian clerics, those involved in rape. You take a girl before an Islamic cleric or a Christian cleric, seeking what we call spiritual cleansing. And they begin to take advantage of such young women in their custody, and then they get raped. Look at the case of the soldier in those states who raped the student of this school in Akungba. That's Adekunle Ajasin. A soldier who was supposed to be manning the checkpoint, you know, looking for criminals to bring to justice. It's a girl that you felt like raping, you dragged her into the bush and you raped her. It's a good thing the army, they surrendered him to the police for prosecution with the same speed that they have not surrendered those alleged to have murdered innocent policemen in Taraba State. And we are reminding them that Nigerians can't forget. You know? So a crime is a crime, whether it's rape or you are a soldier involved in illegal gunning down of innocent people. So, but let's even leave that and talk about the wolves at the door. We can't continue to tolerate rapists the way we are tolerating them in our country. I remember when kidnapping became such a big problem in Anambra State. Peter Obi began demolishing houses, the homes of the arrested kidnappers. And it did not stop there. Even the ancestral homes where their own parents were staying, we started demolishing such homes. It only stopped when it became such a problem. You demolish the home of a kidnapper, the home of his parents too, you are demolishing. But nobody can tell me that the level of kidnapping that we had in Anambra at that time, that we still have, except you are lying to yourself. You know? So we have to come, it's the laws that we do it. When former governor of Bayelsa State was kidnapped, I mean, the mother was kidnapped. What's his name? Seriake Dixon. One of the first things he did was to change the law. To make you think twice when you want to get involved in kidnapping.
I have.
So this is the thing.
Thank you for joining us. He is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. Do we have him? Okay.
You know, and the police have to be trained when collecting information from a victim. You don't ask silly questions.
Yes, good evening, Nigel. Good evening to Babajide and good evening to Asuquo.
Thank you, Ace.
Yeah, good evening.
Go ahead.
Go on, Ace.
Okay. The thing is this, on this issue of rape.
Yes.
I believe, like Babajide said, that these individuals are mad individuals. For me, I believe that they are sick persons. So, on the issue of penalty, for them, Babajide talked of life being sentenced to death penalty. Just like Asuquo said, we have a situation where we have a lot of persons that have been sentenced to death. The governors refuse to sign. For me, my opinion on this is that Asuquo also said something that is very, very critical. You have a situation where you sentence people to death, they are in prison, one governor will come after some years, for whatever reason, he will give them pardon. But what we need to do, this person should be sentenced to life imprisonment. And before they do that, they should be castrated. So if any governor chooses to free them later, let them be castrated. They will come out as castrated individuals.
Yes.
Where they cannot be used to people attempt to even rape any other person again. These are the things that should be done to them, because just like Babajide said, if you talk of, we encourage a lot of wrong things by saying the way these girls dress. Babajide just said something that is very critical. How will a 5-year-old girl dress that will attract a normal somebody who is not sick?
Thank you. Some of the people watch, some of the people on social media and other places who talk about women being indecently dressed. A lot of them are rapists themselves, or awaiting rapists. People will say,
have that
if you can think like that, something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. Let's talk about the crime. The Yorubas will say, Anika Bolewi, any kilometer not fi ẹrù lè ti rí. Ẹja panupọ̀ Bolewi, any kilometer fi nǹkan síbi tó lè ti rí. It makes no sense. Let's condemn the criminal. Let's not turn the victim to a laughing stock. Oh, you didn't dress well. Oh, it's your beauty that is too much, that attracted. It means you have the desire to do the crime. In the first place, you have the desire. So our laws can do it. I'm not even saying death penalty.
You wanted to say something about the police asking some questions.
Yes, that's why many people don't like to report rape cases. Because even the humiliation that you face in the hands of the police when they are asking silly questions like, oh, how are you dressed? How many times did he do it? Silly questions. So at the end of the day, rather than worsen your mental agony, you prefer to live with it. Many people are living with it. And probably what the Minister of Women Affairs said, that about 2 million Nigerian women get raped each year. It may be true. All of these criminal headsmen attacking villages and all that, they also rape the women.
Exactly.
Sometimes they kidnap the women, take them to the bush, and turn them to sex slaves. So we cannot really, honestly, it's such a big problem in our country, and it requires that we find a solution.
This is evolving as well.
No, just like BKO said, because I was even more concerned about the police. You know, they need to train them on the right questions to ask victims. Because if you look at
how to shield,
yes,
protect
you know,
victims.
like Frank Ba was saying, there's no how, even if it takes years or immediately the thing happened, that they can go there and gather evidence. That don't worry. But the thing is, you also have to train your men to ask the right questions so that you'll be able to gather enough evidence to arrest the culprits.
Okay. Rather than subsiding, the war of attrition in Edo State's chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC is intensifying ahead of the state governorship election in September. The APC National Chairman Oshiomhole has written a letter to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, insisting that the party has chosen the direct primary mode for selection of its candidates for the poll. He said the party's decision is in full compliance with the APC Constitution and the Electoral Act. Meanwhile, the governor of the state, Governor Obaseki, who is seeking re-election under the party's platform, asked Oshiomhole to stay away from the primaries. Babajide, sometimes Obaseki brags and sometimes he brags and begs. He's in Lagos today seeking reconciliation, trying to meet with a party leader in Abuja tomorrow, trying to meet with the governor. Now, if you tell a national chairman of a party, because if he's going to be a direct primary now, Oshiomhole will be expected to be in his hometown,
yes, exactly.
Yamo, mobilizing votes for his party. And he's also the national chairman of that party. I are telling him to stay clear from the exercise.
Well, by the powers conferred on him as the elected chairman of the national chairman of the APC, elected by the national convention, not chosen. Not chosen, because we've seen some people get into the Asuquo of the APC while not elected. But he was elected at the national convention, so he has the local standard to function as the chairman of the party. And the powers conferred on him are very clear. The activities of the party, like mobilizing, like organizing this kind of yes, it is mandated to preside over such exercise. Mobilizing votes for the party in a national election is mandated to lead the process. So how do you tell him not to perform the functions that the constitution of the party gave to him?
So it should stay clear.
The truth is tongue twisting and whistling at the same time. It's a difficult thing to do. You came to Lagos, during the lockdown, you and your colleagues defied the lockdown, came to Lagos in the interest of peace, in inverted commas. At the same time, you are taking steps that will make peace difficult to attain. Look at what he has done against his own party now. Because the Gazette that I just came up with today is meant to make it difficult for any form of direct primaries to take place. By saying that there can be no gathering of more than 20 persons. By saying that only Ogbe Stadium is permitted to be used for any form of political gathering, and that if there is a need for other places to be used, it has to be with approval. So
against
the direct primaries are held at what level?
Yes.
They are held at what level?
What level?
So if you do not permit any form of gathering above
20,
or people above 20, how do they do direct primaries at what level? So it's trying to put paid to any form of gathering, whether it is for direct primaries or not. So hiding behind COVID. Yes, we too, we have said that COVID is not something that we can play with. No doubt about it. But elections are coming. We can't wait. It will become a constitutional crisis if it stays longer than necessary. So elections are coming. Whether there is COVID or not, we have to do those elections. We have to do those elections. So he has created a problem. Then even some members of the party too have taken him to court accusing him of forgery. So they are trying to cancel each other out while appearing in one breath to be looking for peace, going to visit Asiwaju, Bola Tinubu, and the rest of them, despite the fact that he once said that Edo State is not Lagos. You know, you are going to see the strong man in Lagos, eating your words. You are also at the same time holding on to the cane, seeking to whip Oshiomhole and the rest of them into line. You are probing him over an hospital project. He is the same man that you want people to believe that, oh, you want to make peace. You went to the president, you said, oh, the president was very warm, he received me warmly, and he assured me of support. And I laughed. You went to Buhari. You need to. Can't we learn from other people? Do you know how many people Buhari received in 2019?
No, the
so-called
the AA candidate, Akinlade.
Yes,
you went there.
With 4 plus 4.
Is it not a photo opportunity? Buhari will not deny you a photo opportunity. You met the president, you want photographer. Okay, you are holding your...
Akinlade was there, Musu was with him.
Yes, now 4 plus 4.
You are holding your form. He will smile, he too will smile at you
photo up.
and then leave. Remember when they were preparing for the senatorial contest, that time, Senate President, people like, what's his name, the man from Goza, Undume kept saying that, no, that as far as he's concerned, the president received him warmly, has assurances, this. We said, you will not win. This is the person who will win. He said, no, I will not, I won't step down. I won't step. The president has not told us that this is the person that he wants. Oh, Buhari will not come out openly to say this is the person that he wants. Buhari never told anyone publicly that he wanted a particular person as deputy Senate president. That's the Delta man. But we know that he told some of the members of the APC caucus that it's this person that I want. Work for him. But he will not come openly. If the rival of Omar Agege comes, Buhari will join them, they will take photographs. So you are now banking on President Buhari that you received you warmly.
Audio support.
By audio support. That's the ultimate audio support. He will not talk. He will not talk. He will just be looking at you.
We snap with you.
I think the governor is just...
Before we enter the studio, I read the resignation letter of the commissioner.
Yeah, the commissioner for information.
2 weeks ago, Akerile,
chief
the chief of staff. Now I see that, look, there's fire on the mountain. That the center can no longer hold in the government house, Edo States. Now, and strangely, Oshiomhole is not talking.
You see, the thing is, one of the biggest weapons any political strategist has is always be silent. Because your enemies will always be playing their cards. You know, when you're doing last card checkup, you are always going to... they will always send you on general market. You know, that is how it is.
And you don't know that card.
Or you don't know the card, the joker that he has to finish you. And that is what Oshiomhole is playing. But he doesn't understand. Yesterday, I was just listening to what he was saying. He was saying that Oshiomhole should not involve himself. He's against natural justice.
Party chairman.
You know, in politics, there's nothing like natural justice. It's either you follow...
Interest is the ultimate thing.
No, that is the interest.
So,
why should Oshiomhole even talk when his strategy is working?
You know, his strategy is working because the thing is they want him to talk. And he's talking
and they know that Oshiomhole talks too much.
So
So they are trying to lead him into a major blunder.
You know?
But the people manage him have told him, National Chairman, we know you talk too much. You self know, say you talk too much. But this time,
just keep quiet.
We need you to. So that is, and it's good that he's listening to them.
Yes. If I don't know if you watched the other day, the 2 days ago that the governors were there and all. The Oshiomhole was just looking after his own speech. He was just looking. It just so unlike him. You know, it was just unlike.
He buttoned up his mouth.
Yes. You know, just talk. You know, keep talking. Obaseki needs to sit down, or the people who are advising him, they need to sit him down and talk to him. The thing about second term is not gra-gra. You know, the people who own the party are the ones that would decide. That is direct primaries. People who have started from AC and down to APC, they are the ones saying that you did not carry them along. They are the party leaders are there. So
they will disobey him.
And even he doesn't even know. One thing about politics is even his own kitchen cabinet, when the chips are down, they will leave him. Because right now it's like he's just going into self-destruct. He's just going like every statement he's making, he's always making blunders. And you can't say you want to come to Lagos for reconciliation,
for peace.
And when you now go back home, you are causing problem. There is nobody who is in that party, who is a party leader that won.
No, what they will say, you see why we said Eskisa. You see why we said you should not listen to. Can you see now?
Now, Babajide, it's so funny that it's some months to the election, nobody is talking about the interests of an average man in Edo States. Nobody's talking about APC. Nobody's talking about development. Nobody's talking about anything. These people is all about how to grab power, the intrigues to get the power. I can't remember the last time I listened to any of the candidates or any of the aspirants talking about how I'm going to the number of jobs I'll create.
Well, you know, you and I know.
Okay, I think I have Hassan from Lagos.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
Hassan.
Yeah. Please, I'm carried away by Ayo's permutation this evening. The permutation is very clear and logical. The man brags and begs.
Yes.
I don't know where the irony is coming from. You cannot claim to be a sitting governor of a state, lashing the person that helped you to power, then at the same time extending the insult to people that knew nothing about it, like Asuquo, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and co. Because I'm a living witness to that. When he said,
Edo is not Lagos.
Edo is not Lagos.
I know what he's trying to say. Hassan.
We will discover in the fullness of time whether Edo is Lagos. I know that the same people that are being insulted now, they played a part in this emergence. And he has dug himself into a hole to the point that even it's difficult for even someone like Dangote, who we know goes around trying to make peace. It's difficult for Dangote to help him at this time. You know, so this is the thing. As a politician, you have to be careful. He is not a thorough politician in the real sense of the word. He's a technocrat, and his inexperience has shown. Yeah, look at the man. He's a yamo of a man. He has never lived outside of Benin. And he has been, he has been, is it Kolobi or what's this word? That Benin vote.
Yes.
Since 2016, it's been Kolobin. That Benin vote. He will leave the rest to you people to battle up. And that is where the bulk of the votes are. So it's going to be interesting, but I can predict that. Look, since they've said they want direct primaries, if you come up with any form of gazette, these people will disobey and who will enforce? Police. You can never bank on the police in matters like this. If the president is not averse to the idea of direct primaries,
that was what was.
Of course,
he emerged through direct primaries.
The IG will just be looking like a bat. And the primaries will happen.
As well, we are counting down to that primaries.
No, we are exactly. We are counting down, and it's going to be very interesting.
Very interesting. Still to come, federal government approves 148 billion naira refund to 5 states for federal roads. Council's feature refund. We'll be right back after this breather. Stay with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalists Hangout, and we're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. And in an apparent U-turn to its earlier decision, the Federal Executive Council has approved a refund of 148 billion naira to 5 states, being money they spent on construction of federal roads. The refund includes 18.3 billion naira to Cross River, 7.8 billion to Ondo, 2.4 billion to Osun, 38 billion to Bayelsa, and 78.9 billion naira to River State. That's quite huge. But the council puts a stop to future refunds for federal roads constructed by state governments across the country. This practice has been, I can't remember when they started this practice, as in states having to rehabilitate and carry out repairs on federal roads, and then they'll be reimbursed after some due diligence and everything has been taking place. Now, Mr. President had made it clear under former Governor Fashola in the first time that they will stop this practice, and disbursing this money, they are telling us that this will be the last time that we are going to be seeing anything like this. So if you're a state governor and you have so many federal roads around you,
so you have to leave it.
It's either you leave it or you do it at your own expense.
Yeah, they can't leave it. And you know, when it happened and the president was saying, leave my roads, I said on this program that they are not your roads. You are president of Nigeria, but those roads don't belong to you. So stop saying, leave my road. I remember saying that at that time. You can't personalize this kind of issue. We praise the president for refunding in excess of 500 billion after he became president. Debts owed those states, by past administration. The truth is, you can't be a governor and watch federal roads in a terrible state and not feel like doing something about it. Look, for example, at the airport road that Ambode did.
Oh, world class.
Won't you be happy to drive on that road? It took a while, but he got permission. He got permission to...
The last time I passed that road, I was actually
No,
impressed.
you see, it's clearly one of the
Completion of
best
the road.
around. So he got permission in the end, and they allowed him to do the road. In most states, the most critical roads are these roads that belong to federal government. Roads crisscrossing up to 3 local governments.
If you're
How
talking
do
about
they
Oyo
leave
State
them?
now, Iwo roads, the entire stretch of that Iwo road, as strategic as it is, a governor should be looking at Iwo road.
Would you leave it and watch your people suffer? You know, there are roads. Look at Dixon, for example, in Bayelsa State. He did quality road projects, bridges. He took roads to places where people never imagined that, you know, riverine communities where people didn't imagine that they would see roads. It makes sense if he files claims for such monies to be paid. And I'm not surprised that look at what is going to be paid to Bayelsa, 38 billion.
That's lump sum.
Yes, that should tell you how much work. Because all of this came after due diligence by federal authorities. That should tell you how much work they did on federal roads. We can't leave those roads. During 5 or 6 time, it will put a small signboard there and say, this road belongs to the federal government. Bear with us. Just as a way of ridiculing the government that they left their roads undone. The truth is, the federal government will never find enough money to be able to fix all its roads. They will never be able to find enough money because those roads, in my view, should even be considered to the state. Some of those
I wanted
roads,
to say that's part
you
of the
don't have
structural
the money.
error that we have
Yes.
in Nigeria today.
you don't have the
They're
money to
telling me
fix all those
Ikorodu
roads.
Road belongs to the federal government.
Look at all of the work, right from Fashola. Look at the work that he did, taking that road all the way to Ikorodu. Would the federal government have been able to do that? Didn't the federal government see that airport road in such a dilapidated state, refuse on both sides, an eyesore, the gateway to a country?
International.
Yes, the gateway to a country. People coming to Nigeria from foreign lands, that's the first impression that they will get of your country. A governor now then
From
took,
that horrible road, you now built Oshodi Road.
yes, a governor now took it upon himself to do it. I don't think governors should be discouraged from fixing these roads. In my view, governors should be encouraged and they should be allowed to toll some of those roads when they do that. If you can't find the money and they look for the money to fix the road, allow them to toll the road so that they can take back what they spent on the road.
Asuquo, what do you make of this?
No, I
I
think
think they are not going to reimburse them again. This is the last stretch.
no. If that is the only thing that the federal government is even making closer to us, to the people, because people will have to transport themselves from either their farms or moving their farm produce from one particular state to the other. And if the roads are not good, it is the consumers that will suffer, you know. So let them allow the end users. Let them allow the states to fix the road, because if not, you will see some states, they won't even bother. They will say it's federal government road.
You will leave it to be killing people.
People will just be dying, you know. So
And we
the
have
thing,
a lot of them like that.
so many.
Country, right
So
now.
see, the thing is,
Terrible roads.
the federal government is even borrowing and getting monies from left, right, center to fix some old roads that have been abandoned for years. And if you look, if you go to Twitter, you see some good roads that the federal government has done, which is good. But allow the state government to fix the roads that are within the states. And that is, they have to get approval. And in getting approval, don't tell, yes, the federal government don't want to part with any money. That is what it means. So allow them.
They don't have enough for
yes,
this.
allow them to toll.
Fashola's budget for this year,
You know,
for example.
allow them to toll. If
By
I'm
the
going
time
from
you take-
Lagos to Abeokuta, or there's nothing. I'll pay maybe 20 naira, 50 naira,
By
and
the time
so
you ask them to toll, by the time you are advising them to toll, by that time NLC will
they,
start coming out.
no, the thing is, they need to
Facebook
fix
will
the
start
road
coming
first.
out,
They
and
need
they
to
will
fix
tell you
the
that
road.
People can oppose things. When they go abroad, they drive through all these people.
Yes, now.
They drive through roads that are tolled. When ShopRite first came, and they came up with the idea that if you park your vehicles, you pay.
You pay.
You know, people opposed it.
But you are still paying.
They are doing it now.
You are paying now.
It doesn't mean that every time people receive something, then you just
the only time we pay flat rate is on weekends.
Are they not paying now?
But people are paying. Because the people protested and make sure noise. But eventually
just
we
use that
pay.
place as a car park.
Yes, they just park
and they will just park and they will
come back the
leave.
next day.
You know. So the thing is, we need to also see how we can also help ourselves and help the government. If the state government says,
look
okay,
at the
they
road
don't have
linking.
enough, let them
it's
do it.
linking Oshun to Ekiti, for example. God, if I may have to go and fix that road, because it's his people who use the road. Will he watch his people die? He had to move in there.
I think I know that road.
Yes.
Elisha. After Elisha.
I forgot the name of the road.
After Elisha, it leads to...
Itaure. You know, you have to go there and do it. It's the right thing to do. You can't watch your people suffer on the road. You can't watch your people die. Look at Dangote now. Look at what we are doing with Apapa. You know, cement-based road.
Yes.
That's what they are doing. Dangote had to do Obajana too.
Yeah, I passed there.
Because they don't do and it will last. The federal government has not got enough money to fix all these roads. You have thousands and thousands of kilometers, but you don't have limitless funds. So in such a situation, why don't you just let the state look at Gbongan Akoda is part of the refund that has come. Then Oshogbo right up to Kwara boundary.
Wow.
They've done that right starting from Aregbesol's period. You know, now they are going to get refund, and we expect the new administration to take that job further and complete it.
No, they are getting 2.4 billion naira.
Yeah, which is good, you know. So let the states go on with the private partnership with private companies, fix the road, and then toll people. People will pay. When once the roads are there, people will pay.
Finally, there's no let-up in the one-man war against indiscipline in Borno State after paying a surprise visit to the General Hospital. Governor Babajide Zulum has ordered suspension of the entire personnel at the Center for abandoning patients to the care of an international NGO. The resident doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and laboratory technicians at the hospitals are all under suspension.
That's the decision that the governor has taken, that they will all go on suspension. And it's the right thing. Zulum is the master of crawling into an environment like a thief in the night. He can come at 1 a.m. He can come at 2 a.m. He can come at 12 midnight. You cannot determine.
Remember that woman that you met in
even
school?
to dangerous
very
places.
early in the morning.
Yes.
That she, the woman.
This is not the first time. This is not the first time that he would go to an hospital and not find people working. This is not the first time. So he has said that, look, this will not be. This will be an unusual administration. That old things have passed away and irresponsible behavior will no longer be tolerated. But maybe some of them still think that, look, they can continue with the aberrant behavior of the past. So the governor is now teaching them exemplary lessons that, look, I will not tolerate this. Some have said, oh, Ngala is not safe. To a large extent, that area is not safe. But if it is safe enough for
The
NGOs to be there, then I don't think these people have an excuse. You collected your salary. He made sure. Then I don't think these people have an excuse. You collected your salary. He made sure that salaries are paid early. They've all received salary. But you will not show up at work. Even the specialist hospital that is not in a dangerous area, it was the same thing that happened when the governor descended on the area at midnight. He didn't find a lot of this, the doctors who should be on duty. So I encourage him to continue to do this because our people are not prepared to change. And sometimes they need the iron hand. This man goes to dangerous places. He's trying to open up places that have been abandoned for years. He has to be supported. And if he's doing so much for the welfare of workers, the workers must reciprocate by being at their duty post. Is it responsible to collect salary and all of you just stayed away? The only people, the people that received the governor were not the staff of the NGOs. Members of the staff of the NGO were the ones who received it, because it's a very embarrassing situation. I would have done the same thing. It's shameful that you got there, not one staff that you pay. Not one staff was available to receive you.
But Asuquo, we cannot discontinue the state of insecurity in that state. And if you are saying that Ngala is not safe, you might not find me
Not
out.
totally, not totally.
You might not find me on duty.
Ayo, the officials or the coordinators of the NGOs, were they robots? They are not robots. They are human beings like them too. They are human beings. So if those ones can stay there,
the local government quarters are largely safe.
Yes, they are safe. So if those ones can stay there and be
no
treating patients, they have no excuse at all. And these are the same set of people that Nigeria Medical Association, when they want to go on strike, they too will join and say they are working hard. Meanwhile, they don't even go to work.
They don't go to, they stay away.
You understand? They
And
don't go to
They
work.
leave the work to the NGO.
And they will leave it and they say they are working. No. The NGOs have their own, they have a reason for being there. It's just to act as support.
Support.
Not for them to become full-time staff.
Items that you need.
Yes, that they will just provide.
Not to be doing the job of resident
doctors. So the thing is, the governor did well.
All of you ran away.
Ayo, if we have like 20 of Zulum in Nigeria, the country will be better, because there are some people that is the only English that they understand.
Yes.
You know, if you don't use higher hand to make sure that the civil service is put in line, I tell you that the country will keep. That was how it was done 4 years ago. They will keep doing it. And the man, Zulum, don't forget, 1 a.m. there was a time he went to the hospital. 1 a.m. there was no doctor.
Yeah.
And there's meant to be a night shift.
Yes, night shift. So if, as a governor, is moving,
even the state secretariat, there was a day when there, I think around 9 a.m., many of the workers had not resumed. So is that what should be encouraged? This is a man who, within 100 days, he had finished school building projects. I went there and I saw building projects from start to the end. And he put air conditioner, primary schools, story buildings. So if he's doing that, the people too need to offer support. They too must offer support now.
You know?
No, the way I see Zulum, I don't know. It doesn't carry the air of, having been the governor, and the way he moves into places.
He's all brain.
And this,
He's the son of a cleric.
He's all brain.
He sees himself as just anybody. Did you see one picture of him sweating all over?
Yes.
Sweating. You will not want to look at that picture twice.
To know that he's even a governor.
Covered in sweat, a governor. But he does not look at all of that. It's you who bothers about how he dresses. In fact, if not for the staff, the aides who will say, no, Mr. Governor, this is what you wore yesterday. You need to wear a different thing. He's not interested in all that. He just wants to work. The day that he went to challenge those soldiers who mounted checkpoint and were collecting 1,000 on the Maiduguri-Damaturu highway, you saw that he was wearing T-shirts. And they were arguing with him, no, we were not taking money. He said, I saw you collecting
money.
I saw you by myself. And he told the people, leave the queue. You can't just keep people suffering from 6 a.m. Long queues.
Okay, we have Elder Dari on the line, calling from Kaduna. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, Elder Dari from Kaduna. I think this is a wonderful development. You can be paid salary and not actually do the job that you are being paid for. I want to commend the governor. I pray that God will continuously keep him. So how would you abandon patients in the hospital and allow NGO to take care and welcome the governor and abandon those patients there? It's not done anywhere. I think the Nigerian Medical Association should even call these members to action. Good evening.
Thank you, Elder, for your submission. So ultimately, we need to have people like Zulum across the country, and governors that are not
nonsense governors,
bothered by the
air of authority, the air of the office,
are not accessible, we used to talk about one governor in the north. If you even see him, the way he will see you off, because very, very accessible man.
Being like that. Many of the governors in the north are like that.
Yeah,
I don't want to
think
mention names, but for you to see some governors in the southwest, in this our south,
people say
southwest, southeast,
the whole of south.
They are difficult to
Very difficult.
to
It's
access.
very, very difficult.
They carry themselves like
Of
presidents.
course.
what is it?
They've
But
forgotten
you
it
see a
just
lot
8
of the
years.
governors of the north. Not all the governors of the north.
Not all.
Some of them too are very accessible. Some are even arrogant. But many of the governors from the north, no airs about them. They are easy to access, and you mention your problem to them. They are ready to solve the problem. Some you can even call them and say, look, there's a community where you discover that this is happening, and they will solve the problem. You know. So some of them are like that, and I'm proud of such governors, because you are a governor, you are not God. You are not God. But the indiscipline that our people manifest, I'm happy that there's a governor who is showing them that, look, this will not be tolerated.
Exactly. All right. Asuquo James, thank you for your contribution today.
Thank you so much.
And BKO, thank you for always being there. And that's our package for today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of